Hey, welcome to DreamSlip. Robert here. Nicholas is across the way, and between us, we've got one good idea and many tangents. We said less so. So we're talking generative AI news again today. And Nicholas, how are you going?
Doing well, thank you, Rob. Thank you for the intro and coming on and hanging out with me. I love catching up and getting talking about these concepts and ideas and news and everything. I enjoy it a lot. So yeah, thanks for this opportunity to talk every week. I'm excited that we're focused on doing this every week. It's a good thing, you know. Um, but yeah, so what's happened in the week of AI? I guess we're going to be talking about that today.
Okay. Do that's great. Um, I have. We did say before we started we were going to talk about some of the developments we're doing on DreamSlip.
Hmm.
So I should have put that in the intro, but I can't rewind now because all of our viewers currently that are here. So welcome viewers, and
Yeah, or 6,421 of you.
that's quite fast. That's the fastest we've had in for I think the first 30 seconds or no 1 minute and 42 into the podcast. That's a crazy. Thanks guys. So yeah, we're looking forward to people with comments. So the from the 6,000, if you want to comment, just throw it in there, and um, we'll try to answer them. So, the generative AI. Uh, Anything you want to bring up, Nick, from last week?
Well, are we gonna start with the thing for Dream Step, or we're gonna talk about the generative AI first?
No, I said we're going to do generative AI, and then we'll do the game thing. But if you don't want
Okay,
to do the
got it, got it, got it. I missed that. Sorry. Yeah, no, I've just been, and it's funny, the more we talk about this, the more I get reels and feeds and things on my phone and so on, and um, hearing about how um, you know advanced it's getting and where they see the future of it. I was actually watching a clip where someone was talking about um, they believe that it's going to get so advanced that it helps us become immortal. And I said, I don't know that that's happening one day, but in relation to generative AI, that where I think that you know I was contemplating the whole week because my son Bryce, he's studying accounting, right? And he's picked a job that doesn't require creativity. It's just more like numbers and so on. But there's still that creative aspect of um, you know is one and one two, or is one and one, what does it need to be, and so on. And for not just creators, but the youth of today coming up, what job role do they pick? Which one's going to be available for them to move into? You know you, accounting and all these jobs used to be really you know exciting jobs to get into, but now with AI. But again, it's not generative AI, but it's more AI. Where did they move into? But then the same thing is, and we touched on it last week, what does a creative person do they choose to still do music even though music can be created in 5 minutes with AI, or do they choose to be an architect, or do they still choose to be a thing? Yeah, anyway, I don't know. I've had a lot of thinking since last
Yeah,
week.
it sounds like you've got you touched on a point that's really interesting. Where does one move in a career, particularly if you're a young person
Yeah.
and you're in year 11, 12 in Australia, and you've got to decide what your career was. Um, as you know, I've been in software development for about 40 years, and I'm a tech person, and I've been developing AI solutions for solidly for at least 10 years, maybe 11. Um, and I actually recommend people not to do work that requires sitting at a desk on a computer and you're just doing repetitive stuff. Um, so to me, software development is one of those. And I know, from my point of view, a software developer is sort of creative, was meant to be creative in the, and maybe that was just a self justification because one could say, all right, I have to build an algorithm
Yep.
or work on an algorithm. So you can use a sort of standard algorithms from, you can just look it up, or you got to be creative and uh, use a combination of algorithms to solve a problem. So it's a sort of like a creative solution. Well, the, AI, or if I don't say AI, just sort of like the actual models that are out there, particularly the ones that are using agentic workflows, they they solve these creative problems much faster than uh, the fastest software developer. So when
Is it cost
somebody,
effective? Like, you have to get the tokens and all that kind of stuff. Does it cost as more effective, or where does that weigh up? You know.
yeah, okay, so let's say a software developer, let's say straight out of university, let's say a big thing in Australia, I would say, let's say it's 60,000 just to make things cheap, easy
Okay.
to calculate. It's
Yeah. Even numbers.
$5,000 a month, right? Claude Max is $200 a month, right? So I, as a senior developer, I know exactly how to produce a fairly large solution. And so that solution, I would use an agent, let's say Claude Max, that cost me $200. I can have a bunch of, and in that Claude Max, I have tons of agents inside there. So I have QA agent, I can have code reviewer, I can have, I don't know, a
UI UX.
designer,
Yeah.
pretty much like a whole squad for $200 a month. So where you hear people having problems with tokens, I think that's what you're referring to, where
Yeah.
tokens exceed the cost of a person. That's when they sort of use solutions where you don't orchestrate correctly what you're trying to do, and you're letting the AI do the orchestration. And that's actually in the old days. That was a big problem maybe 2 months ago,
Okay.
and
In the old
now,
days, 2 months ago.
yeah, in ancient history it was a problem.
Yeah.
But nowadays, they have a thing. Their concepts called looping or graph loops, where you can actually fully automate, but it also consolidates token usages smart, and also models are now being developed and are free to run locally on your machine, particularly some sort of very fast ones to do very simple things and just leave the complex things up in the cloud. So things are starting to come together, I think, from a software sort of side. But anyway, going back to, I understand that argument to say, well, it's cheaper to get a software developer than to use AI. Yeah, no, it still costs, but the costs are a lot less.
Yeah, good.
Because the other thing is, if you get a graduate developer at $5,000 a month, it could take them 2, 3 months to do something that a nice agent can do in 4 hours.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not super problematic. But the other work that you mentioned, like accounting, right? The accounting, yeah, it's not super. That's a very skill-based system, I guess. Bookkeeping, the
Hmm.
creative accounting is it could be interesting, but but I think AI, the LLMs can do that quite well. So,
Mm.
um, but I think in the news, yeah, I think that's opinion. I think in the last sort of week or so, the improvements of understanding how to do token rationalization in enterprises and companies and stuff like that, and also I think there's the other side of it is the pushback against the AI slop. So in software development, AI slop's not really it's not really evident because it's a skill thing. But generative AI, the slop is there, and I mean,
Mm.
as you know, what a slop means, you can
Mm.
tell that it's AI, and it's just low quality. It's high quality in terms of photorealistic, but low. It just looks like garbage.
Mm,
And also, in people that are writing documents, one of the things my bugbears is as um, um, you may know, I don't know, but when I ask somebody to write me a business plan, for instance, or a something, they generate 15, 16 pages of slop, and
mm. And
it's sort of
expect you to read it and waste your
expect
time.
me to read it. Took them one prompt and say, Rob, I've done it all, and it's got
Mm,
nice diagrams. And when you start reading it, it's just sort of like garbage. And then what I have to do, that's almost like denial of service, because if as a manager or somebody that's sort of running it, that sort of runs a company, and you get three or four people that generate um, business plans that are slop, it takes up all my time. So to
correct.
offset my denial of service, I have to create an agentic system to read these business plans to tell me how much
So you have to use
of
AI to
value.
read AI.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to have but it is a form of attack, and now I don't know if you've seen your emails. Well, maybe you read your emails. I get tons of scammers now,
Yeah.
which I didn't get before, and because I used to get blocked, and most of them are about capital raising. Um,
Yep.
they go to my DreamSlip account here, so this is inner
Mm,
workings, right? So I get tons to say, hey, we're from Capital Partners in New York. Would you like $10 million? Or, some stupid number, right?
mm.
And it's just like tons of them, maybe three or four a week, but their emails don't match the company name. So it's that's the tell, but it's just so um, common now, and I think and you can tell they're AI written because I just have to. You can just tell by things like the obvious M dashes and stuff like that. So somebody's generating these things like thousands. So if I'm getting all of them, so would everybody. You must be getting all of them, right?
Yeah, I am.
And they're written in a way that they've analyzed my profile on LinkedIn or on the internet, and they put it into the email as if there was a lot of research behind our the company and what we've done and whatnot, and it's just an AI.
Yeah.
So not well, we use our mail server didn't pick it up as spam, so I had to write an agent to do that to go through and clear that up. Again, that's a form of denial of service for a human because you got to read
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
now we have to write an agent to read that stuff to go through. Anyway, that's generative AI that's very dangerous. So last week we talked about generative AI taking jobs away. Now we're having generative AI that's stopping us from doing our normal work. That's
The other one was, and I've got it a lot more often, is the phone calls with an AI person, like actually saying, "Hi, this is Sophie. I'm not going to take too much of your time, but can I ask you a question, please?" And it's like, it sounds like a person, but then when you answer, like, "Oh, I don't have time for it at the moment." Well, can I please, and like they just ignore what you're saying, like when they're really bad, just ignore what you're saying, and then they just keep talking with the thing. So realistically, they can hit a lot more people a lot quicker to these conversations, and then when you show interest, then pass through to an actual person, right? But yeah, I've had several now that have called up from, we're going to do a survey, or we'd like to ask you for a donation, or whatever, and it's not even a real person. It's not real at all. Totally
what?
AI.
Wow, that's wild. I haven't had that experience.
I've had like
I
several different ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't answer numbers that I don't recognize.
If you don't know the number. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have something that protects your phone? Like, do you have something that tells you that it might be scam or whatever?
Yeah, actually, that's a really interesting. Can I do a little bit of a pitch?
Yeah, pitch it. Hey, and
Okay.
we take sponsorships. Just let you know, anyone who wants to sponsor us, we're brand new. Yeah, go pitch it.
Yeah. Now we actually have a really interesting concept. The No, you know that they're the anti-scamming body. That's an international body. Is stopping scams and stuff, and they're actually was originally designed by human scammers. Like call centers
Actual
and
people
stuff
that
like
used
that.
to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now that's sort of been replaced by AI, and uh, and now things like telcos are now obliged legally to monitor sort of scamming numbers. So they've got to block numbers that have been registered as scam numbers. And
Okay.
iOS, I think, has a service that says this is possibly scam, right? And there are other apps and stuff. Now, the anti-scamming solutions that are out there are based on originating phone numbers. So you saw that from, I think it's could be the 1st of July in Australia. You can't have numbers from a business unless it's been a registered business, right? So you can if it comes up and the name on the SMS, for instance, SMS, right? If the SMS is not has a business name and it's a phone number, that's a very high chance that is a scam, right?
Yeah.
Um, so you can't send business SMSs unless it's been registered as a business. Um, and but I've been getting scammed SMSs with businesses because people have been able to spoof that somehow, and I don't know how.
Yeah. Me
And
neither.
we have a product that we're putting into places um, that actually listen in on the conversation itself. So it's a subscriber system, and so you subscribe to it, and so when a number comes in, a call comes in, and somebody talks to you like your AI there, it actually alerts you to say this is AI. Way one, it's what they call synthetic, and second, they said based on the phrases and the words and known scams that are out there, it tells you the probability this is a high scam, and if it gets to a certain level of probability, then it alerts you and say you have a scam caller online, right? And you can set it to hang up automatically. Now,
Yeah. Wow.
you may be smart enough to hang up and stuff like that, but what this is built for, because it's subscriber based, you put it on your own thing, and there's nobody else listens but this thing on your phone. That you can give it to one of your kids, right? So if you
Or
have
an
a
elderly
kid
person,
that
or
has a
someone who's
phone,
not
right?
used to tech. Yeah.
He's not used to tech, but let's just say scamming is one thing, which is buy something. But let's say it's grooming.
Yeah.
Um, somebody says, "Oh, I'm a 14-year-old boy or something," and but the patterns of the AI detects that this is a grooming technique that's happening here, and it warns, but it doesn't. It warns the kid, but it also warns you as a parent. Said there's a phone call that is happening that seems to be thinking, and it captures all the details of the phone call, the source, and all that sort of stuff, so you can report it to the police. So we have that as a product that we're putting into telcos around the world. So I'm pretty excited about that.
That's very
Um,
exciting.
yeah, it's actually related to the stuff that you're doing in DreamSlip. So so it's related to the company. So what we're doing is try and protect vulnerable people,
Yep.
children, and elder elderly, because elderly people. Um, Particularly good scammers, they really say, this is from Westpac and your account has been
Yeah.
whatever, we're trying to save it. You're losing $100 a minute or whatever. I don't know. This
Yeah.
urgency, you're just going to get a number here. Um, you need to just give us, this code number to prove that you're the owner, whatever. And it is that 2FA, right? So they give the number, and that person that just called you has thing gets into your banking accounts and strips it, right? All of that
Mm.
is happens so fast. You can just, a bank account just empties. Um, and telcos have to stop that. That's their requirement. And the banks have to protect against the consumer as well. But it happens. And so having an extra layer that it doesn't even get to there because the system that's analyzing the voice is, no, 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 this is wrong. It just shuts it down. Right?
Yeah.
That's the best part.
And it'd be good if it remembered the voice as well, or
Oh, yeah,
the
that's the other thing. That's
and then it will just know as soon as it's answered on another phone, that same voice, it's gone. Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's right. Particularly synthetic. The system we have is synthetic. It detects it not only if it's the same number that's been scammed, right? It says, okay, this is a scam number. So you're exactly right. It says it has voice recognition. So it says this voice has been used in scam. So it's a
Mm,
higher risk.
mm.
Yeah, thanks for letting
It
me
just
pitch
suck
that.
if you it suck if you sound exactly like the scammer voice.
No, no, but it depends. Yeah, but synthetic voice we detect very well that it's AI.
Of course,
Um,
synthetic you can't make the same. It's a mix of
yeah,
so
and
many different.
it's pretty excellent. Anyway, the product, if you're interested, is called Fidgel. If you want to know about it, just go P. I'll put it in the comments here. Okay, phigel.com. Okay. Oh, all right. And
We should
Fidgel.
put it in the comments as well when this goes live.
Oh, it's in the comments here. But oh, do you want me to put
Okay,
a text on here? I wonder if I can do that. And oh, can I put a text here? I don't know how to use this. This is so
instead of
complicated. No, it's not so
private.
complicated.
Yeah,
Uh,
it did. It went under the comments. I can see it.
on the comments, but I could put it on the screen. You see. But
Oh,
anyway,
that would be excellent if you did that.
I don't know how to do that yet. We're just learning. Uh,
Everyone
but
started somewhere.
yeah, I gotta start somewhere. Oh, and I can add an item. Can I add a piece of text item? Camera, no media slot. No, forget it. Anyway, so what Fidgel has another thing that's really cool too, which is this is all to do with generative AI protection. Is no, I won't talk about it. You just go to their site and you'll see it, and it's actually got a little demo thing if you want to try it, and it works with 140 languages or something like that. Thanks for bringing that up.
So we should next time. Next time we next time we go live, we should have another thing to plug. That was good. I liked finding out about that. That was good.
Yeah. Okay.
And how does someone at home do that? Can they just go on and download it onto the app now? Like, is it
No,
available?
we don't. It's not an app as such. It's actually sponsored. It has to be in concert with the telco, and
Okay.
so the telco has to provide it as what's called a value-added service. So people, let's say you check with your telco, do they support Fidgel? And the telco says yes, then their phone has it. And so because the telco's involved, you don't have to have a smartphone. Some, the kids or are given pretty dumb phones.
Yeah, analog sort of thing. Yeah.
They're deliberately done that way, more and more, so they don't get distracted in school and whatever. And also, elderly like to have some people just have whatever that traditional phone still,
Yeah.
um, which I wish I had. Uh, um, but
Oh, I remember the days when the long cable. You used to be like,
yeah,
no, you gotta have to come closer. I can't reach. You can't just run into the other room. Someone had to actually come into the kitchen to answer the phone. It's
yeah.
good.
Yeah, so the service works for them. So that's why um, it's device agnostic because it requires the telco to do that. Um,
Okay.
anyway, let's talk about games,
Okay.
if that's okay with you.
Which so games in generative AI. Does
No,
this make it? I'm sorry. Go.
I was going to just talk about the DreamSlip games.
Yeah.
I was
So
going to do sort of like an announcement.
okay. We have
I was going to do that.
exciting. You do it.
Yeah, okay. Do you know what you're going to say?
No. You do it.
You're making up. You're just generating. You're hallucinating like an AI.
I'm doing generative AI in my head.
I'm giving you an update, Nick. Okay.
Update.
This
Yes,
is
please,
the
Rob.
game. This is an update, and this is for our 150,000 viewers. Wow, it's gone up.
Yeah.
Um, the We have two games that are being developed at the moment. And as we said last week, games are a creative thing. And we said that to be a game developer, you have to be quite creative because you not only in the graphics, but all the audio and the gameplay and the coding and stuff. And DreamSlop's not developing AI slop games. We're totally against that. So these games are being developed by a handmade by humans, which makes it a little bit more exciting to play. Now I say that in a way that I'm lying a little bit, and the lying bit is that it is true that it's handmade by a person, but the code is assisted by AI.
Mm-hmm.
So the developer who hopefully we'll have on the podcast next week or early next week is Zarina, and Zarina has developed two games. One is for uh, kids from 5 years on, and it's a very graphic intensive game. Not intensive. It's a simple graphic game for kids to play on their iPads or their iPhone, and it's coded by Zarina. The graphics were made Zarina. The music's made by Zarina, with the assistance of AI, right? So, so the argument of being AI is bad, bad, bad is not true. What we're pushing here is just saying how to use AI to facilitate your creativity, and that's what we're talking about here with the games. And the second game that Zarina is doing is I don't know the name of it yet, but it's a very cool one. But it's a shooting game. So you're shooting slime, and in a city, and it's actually quite fun. So hopefully next week, so we'll have those two games. So the first game, which is for 5 years old and older, and I suspect the shooting game with Apple and Google will suggest that it has to be maybe
Think so.
15 years or older.
Yeah.
So when Zarina, hopefully we'll be able to demonstrate at least the shooting game for us next week. But
Mm-hmm.
the catching game is really fun to play. Oh, you've played it.
Yeah, I love
Um,
it.
yeah. I
Showed my
think if
daughter.
you're
She loves it too.
I think if you're on DreamSlip on Discord, you can actually play on the demo or beta version of these games. But we'll make
Mm-hmm.
sure if you can be a member of the Discord, we'll put the links. So for Google Play or App Store Test Flight, we'll put the games on there for early beta testers. You know,
So
I
to
just
get
wanted
onto
to.
Discord for someone to get onto Discord, they can go to our website and click on the Discord icon.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I should add in later on a comment in here on like a link to Discord so they can come and join if they're not already on our Discord. So I'll
Yeah.
make sure to do that.
Yeah. I think the feedback for our creators, anybody who wants in the community who wants to learn game development or any of that sort of stuff, the creative stuff, we should as a community. I'll help. Zarina will help as well. You will probably point to the right place, and then we can get them to have their own games. Ideally, they'll publish them under the DreamSlip blanket
Yep.
because then we can publish it. And if there's any revenue model, like either through subscription or through ads or any of that sort of stuff, that should go back to the developer,
Oh, yeah, for
whoever's
sure.
publishing.
Yeah, yeah,
So
for sure.
that, so just like we do with music, of course. In this case, hopefully Zarina will get. Actually, the games that she's made is so far is not. There's no pay thing
Oh, there's
attached to it.
definitely room for monetization, but at the moment it's for fun,
Yeah, the
right?
monetization is something that DreamSlip has to is promoting for the community members. So what we'll
Yep.
do, like we talked last week, your background, your family, and everything is really heavy on the music side. My side of the uh, part of this venture is the technology side. So
Yep.
it's the games. I've been my first game that I've been credited on was back in 1987. So, or no, 1988. So I've been in the sort of in and out of the game industry for a long time, and I've had some very successful games, but they're all indie games.
Yeah.
So it's quite. I've been more successful in games than I have with my music. So,
Yeah. Well, you did quite well with music, didn't you? You in like a couple of really good bands and
well, I
things.
mean in revenue.
Oh yeah, revenue wise, yeah.
So when I had my one game, I could tell you that could be another podcast. But one game, my indie game, I think it was brought out in 2009. Had 6 million players, daily players,
Yeah,
and it
wow.
was ad revenue. And I was doing. I retired. Oh, that's when I was retired, and
Yeah, wow.
it was a good revenue stream. So if I kept on doing it, it'll be a thing. But I don't know. Bill should have stayed retired.
You should have stayed retired. Well, I appreciate that you're not retired anymore.
No, but it's so fun because you get a fan base and you get so many haters, people that hate it, but it's extreme. Mine was so polar. The game, you had 50% of the people said this is the stupidest game in the world, and 50 said this is the greatest game in the world. And I knew the kind of people.
Yeah.
I won't be rude, but if you're slightly on the spectrum like I am, the game was fantastic. But if you're but if you're not on the spectrum, you just like you can't understand it because it's the design of the game. Oh, can I tell you the game? What it was?
Yeah, of course.
How to play it? Okay, it was called Scroll Driver Lite. You can look it up, and uh, and it worked. And I made it because the iPhone just got released, right? And one of the key things was iPhone 2 in Australia. iPhone 1 didn't come. So iPhone 2 had the accelerometer. So you could, I said, I want to make a game with that I can use that accelerometer because I thought that was such a cool thing, and like the phone knew if it was tilted or not. So it was a car. So you put a car on there, and if you tilt the phone forward, the car rolled down, right? I said,
Yep.
that's so great. So made it on a road, and if you tilt it to the left, the car sort of goes to the left, and it goes to the right. And I said, what if you had cars coming the other way? So you got to dodge these cars, and if you hit a car, it goes blip. You just died. Well, not died. The car crashed, right? And then at the time, I was working in the computer in the sort of that company that Toyota wanted a game. And so I made the game for Toyota to see, how can they try this game to see how cool it would be cool. And so I made it into a high. Is it a Hilux? No, or
Yeah.
was it a Hilux? Or
Go
one of the
highlights.
no, it was one of the smaller cars. I can't remember what it was. Or
Corolla.
it just sort of no, it was it sort of just came out at that time. Is in 2009 or something, and I put it, and so we demonstrated. And they said, "Oh, it's a fun game, but there's no way in hell they're going to produce send that out because the car crashes." you know, I said, "Oh." I said, "Oh yeah, that is not a good thing." So I published it anyway,
And
and
you
then I
said,
used
"Oh,
that,
I'll take it to Volvo instead."
or Fiat or something, yeah,
Yeah,
and.
Fiat.
But what I ended up doing is I just published it on iOS on Apple Store, right? And it was one of the very early Apple Store things, right? And it came number one car driving app really quickly,
Wow.
and uh, and and I was saying, oh, I got to put a leaderboard on it because if you're driving, it sort of like had every kilometer you had this little meter thing, kilometer one, and you get points and how many cars you pass and all that stuff. But if you crashed, that was it. That was the
Yeah.
end, right? And and I had to, and I said, I got to make it. And I just focused as a computer scientist. How small can I make the code? I was it was so precious for me because if this game could last, let's say, 15 minutes, you don't want to run out of memory. So everything had to be generated, procedurally generated, the entire environment. It can't be stored as images or whatever. It's just generated on the fly. And so I made the game, and it was super, super small. And so it's super fast to download. And um, and then when I was playing it, I said, well, I want to store it in the cloud, like the leaderboard. And at that time, Game Center didn't exist. So I used OpenFaint. It was a system called OpenFaint leaderboard thing. Two or three people came up with it. It was like a little community. And I said, oh, well, I'll do that. Anyway, the guys that created OpenFaint, that leaderboard, um, closed OpenFaint, they're the guys that created Discord, right?
Oh
Is it
wow.
Discord? So it's actually there. So they went from that to that. So I had some roots with the creators of those guys, and but it was so great because um, some people, their times, how long you actually played was on the leaderboard. How long did you last? And I think the longest was two and a half hours. So somebody was playing that game for 2.5 hours. So I must have had it on the charger because your battery would have died. And
So with your wrist and your arm and everything,
yeah,
that would have
and
been so difficult.
well, the most I've ever gotten was like 15 minutes before I crashed, right? Because it just gets harder. Well, it doesn't get harder; it actually stays. But eventually, you just sort of like lose concentration and you crash. And it was so great. And I think I had the game up there for a year, and then I went back and helped um, the company I left with another project, and so I stayed there. But I produced another game straight after it, which was a 3D maze game that did really well, and um, it was not a maze. It was actually like a person that runs through a maze, and you had zombie robots that went after you, and it was really fun to play. And I was just making, and then at the same time in production, I had a car racing game with 3D truck thing where you jump over hills and all that sort of competing with other trucks. And I just did that. And when I went to going back into software development, helping this other company that was in trouble with their projects, I had to put that on hold and I haven't gone back. That's why I want to get back into sort of
Yeah,
game.
cool, exciting,
Anyway, sorry I was
very
talking
exciting.
about that, but it's good fun writing games.
Yeah, I I love seeing the stuff that's coming out of like the like you said the catching one, the Astro one. I had fun playing it. I loved it. And it's for a 5-year-old, so I can just
Yeah.
imagine the shooting one and the next one and the next one.
Yeah, I like games that are original. So
Yeah,
the problem with originality, if I can give my personal opinion, is a lot of people don't like it. They don't like original things because you got the if somebody has never seen something before, then they can't relate to it. They actually can be quite offended by it. And I think that happens in games and in music or any sort of creative stuff, even art. And it takes almost half a generation of people that start to admire the change that happened. Um, and so when if somebody produces a game or a song and puts it on Apple and they get really bad reviews, oh no, if they get half of them bad reviews or half good reviews, you know you've got something original. You have changed. You have thought of something outside of the box,
yeah,
and that's a really good thing. And that's where I think AI stuffs up because AI doesn't think outside the box. It's always based on uh, stuff that's already been there, and it
mhm,
tries to gear it like traditional pop music. I'm not saying pop music is bad, but popular music is popular because people have some kind of affinity to it, and there's some kind of
yeah,
nostalgia they have with it. And when new music comes out, or a new game, or new something that there's no the nostalgia is weak. Um, they just don't like it, and they just say, this is rubbish. You see that in TV shows as well, and then you sort of find out, well, so the trick, I guess, with a game is to have a nostalgic hook or a song. You got to have a nostalgic hook, but have the new stuff in it as well.
that's right.
And as soon as AI
Cool.
can do that, then it's going to be pretty hard to compete.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, it's exciting listening about all your games and things like that. Can't wait to see some more awesome games come out of there.
Well, well, that's what DreamSlip's all about. Is allowing
Yeah,
people to a community to monetize their creativity. And I think even the music in games, that's what we want to do. Is wanted to when you build a game, we said there's multiple disciplines there. There's the music. So you can use AI to generate your background sounds and stuff. That's fine. But it's also nice if it's a fairly sort of atmospheric game to have somebody actually compose that music, right? Um, and um, and then you got the artwork, so if you sort of control the art direction and you control all of that develop, you can have a team of 3 or 4 people say, hey, let's all work together. They can use, if they want, AI to help them generate what they want, but they come together and put it together. Or you can
yeah,
be a single person and put it together. It doesn't really matter. And I say, if we can help people monetize, fantastic.
that's right. That's what we want to do for sure. Just get the ad
Yeah. Well,
server and other things.
anyway, I guess these podcasts are almost like think tank things. You and I sort of coming up with, hey, this is a cool idea. We'll do this, but we're not
And
doing
then
anything
as we get
different.
as we
Sorry.
get comments and things, people can jump on and write things and so on as well. And yeah, it would be good.
Yeah, it would be good if people start coming onto this podcast, but we're not advertising when these are
That's
on.
right. We're not letting
So
anyone know we're
these
doing
are
this.
all sort of these are stealth podcasts, but eventually, we'll reward somebody who'll make a comment on this live on YouTube because nobody's going to see it. It's going to be a podcast that says live because it's not on the videos, it's on the live thing, which is a different part of YouTube. And somebody, the first person that says, I think Rob and Nick are great, okay, then they're going to be, what are we going to give them? Kudos. They're going to get
Yes.
kudos.
Well, I mean, it would have mean they would have had to have watched 40 minutes and 40 seconds of this podcast to get to that bit and
Yep.
actually watch the podcast. So that's good.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth it. You can almost say he'd give him anything because I don't know if that's going to happen, but we'll see.
No worries. Um, Wow, this is a long podcast. Usually we're only 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're seeing this one viewer here, that's actually DreamSlip. That's me on the iPad.
Yes. Yeah. The other
Yeah,
6,000 went at 30 minutes. They left at 30 minutes.
yeah. So I'm hoping this is a little bit more professional. Um, so what we'll do on the next podcast, um, you can choose the topic, but just um, and what we'll do on the topic, we'll probably mail it out, and we'll make it go out to Facebook Live.
Okay. Cool.
Oh, it's up to you.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Okay. I don't know. I just like yakking.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. It's good. I I enjoyed hearing all about that game development stuff you were doing. You've mentioned it to me, obviously before, but not in that much detail. That was quite cool. Toyota and all that stuff. Like I said, you should have just sold it to Volvo. Volvo would have taken it. Their cars
No, no,
crash all
it
the time.
wasn't. It was. It wasn't the IP. Pizza Hut actually contacted me.
Really?
Yeah, it was a developer for Pizza Hut in the US. They contacted me. I had to sign an NDA and all this sort of stuff. So I don't know if it's still there, but they
Yeah.
wanted me
Oh,
to.
yeah, I'll just tell you exactly what we said.
But they wanted my source code because they wanted to have a delivery truck go through and somebody delivering pizza and stuff like that. And so yeah, sure. And I think they just went and created their own anyway. But
Well, they do
they
have
just
a Pizza Hut app like that does exactly that now. Yeah.
yeah, and I think they sort of they went and did it themselves. I wasn't really worried. It was just sort of like it was more of a. It was called Scroll Driver because I was scrolling light because it was free. And I think I think they had magazines that have you had the game reviewers? Game reviewer said, "Oh, this is light." I said, "I hate to see what the the paid version is." So there is no paid version. I just called it light because it's a light app. Yeah, yeah, some people are very mean. Some really mean. It's just the developers, and it was always in plural. The developers, they could have done better. They used a It was a Yaris. That's what it was. A Toyota Yaris. They could have done a better car than a Toyota Yaris. I said, okay, I don't know. So I was thinking, should have actually they could select a car or something.
Yeah,
But
that's how you monetize it. You want to have a
no.
Ferrari?
Oh, the idea wasn't to monetize. The idea was for people to have fun. But I got money from the ads, and from
Yes, yeah.
6 million users, you get a lot of money from ads, um, which was very good. I think that was the highest monthly income I had in my life.
Yeah, wow.
So lasted me quite a while. I shouldn't boast,
That
but
sigh. The sigh that comes after that lasts me quite a while.
mm,
Yeah, we have to.
yeah, I think that world has changed now because you put a game out, you're competing with millions of other games.
Yeah, it used to be. Is there an app for that? Now there's definitely an app for that sort of
Mm.
process. Mm. All right.
Okay,
Well,
well,
45 minutes. It's a good length. One and a half times what we usually do.
no, it was good. Thank you so much for having the podcast today. A short
No, I
notice.
think we need to really keep it consistent every week for sure.
Yeah, yeah, but hopefully we'll have proper topics and stuff. I think again, yes, last week was a technical demonstration that we can actually have the capability to do it.
Mm.
Today was more like same thing, just this slight improvement. And next week we'll improve with having a guest if we can, or two.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll also see if we can stream to multiple places. We're only streaming to YouTube at the moment.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
fantastic.
thank you. Again, it was good to see you again, Nick.
Good to see you too, Rob. I appreciate it. Thanks everyone for watching. That is watching not live because you didn't know it was on. But if you're watching it and you've made it this far, thank you very much for the support.
Yeah, thank you so much for the people that do spend the time to watch this afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to end the stream. See ya.
See you, Rob.
See you, Nick.